Well, we are going to talk about layoffs and dismissals.
Yep.
There's just two of us today. We're not sure where our third person is, so he may join us in a minute. Okay, so the first thing we're supposed to talk about is at will. At will employment and what that means. So what was your take, like one sentence, one word, what does that mean to you, Elisa?
I think I thought it was pretty tricky because they can do kind of whatever they want to with an employee.
Right.
Sometimes without just cause. And that would make me really nervous. I know there's lots of exceptions and lots of other rules that go along, but that's very interesting. I think from an employer standpoint, you made a bad choice in hiring this person, let's get rid of them. But on the flip side, boy, I would hate to be the employee that maybe offended somebody or spoke up too quickly and now I'm gone. Interesting.
Right. When I first was reading about it, I thought, well, this is old fashioned. This isn't the case anymore. There's no such thing as at will employment. And then I read about the exceptions. Yes. And then I was like, oh, okay. So it's still called at will employment, but there's so many exceptions. Like, is there really such a thing as either party can terminate at any time? Like, I think there's so many exceptions that it probably isn't really the case anymore.
It's probably beneficial. I mean, you can see where if it's dealt with correctly, it can be a positive for both sides, but it still comes across as kind of scary. So,
yeah. Well, let's just review each of the exceptions that were listed, just so we know what they are before we go on and talk about Terry and Phil.
Okay.
So the first one, and I'm just, if you're following along,
I am.
Which I think is kind of funny, the discussion leader only page, and it says, give them a code to read. There's no code. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you probably already read the part B.
I did. Okay. Yeah, I did.
So we'll get to that in a minute, but just for the sake of a discussion, we will talk about each of the exceptions. So the first one is breach of implied contract. So what's an implied contract?
Not written down. It's just just
kind
of a verbal agreement of what is expected and what's going to happen. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, everyone could have different expectations of what an implied contract is, but basically it's just whatever. It could be written down like in a manual, what it said, like an office manual where it details like maybe the 3 strikes, you're out, or different things like that. But it could be as simple as you're doing a great job. Oh, okay, I still have a job.
Right. Exactly. Then,
right. So they come and fire you the next day, I guess.
And having not understood.
But yesterday you said I was doing a great job. You implied that I was still employed. So I think that could go so many directions, a breach of implied contract. So right there, to me, I'm like, why do they still call it at-will employment if it really isn't legal anymore just to fire someone just because? Yeah. So then the second one is breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. So I was kind of trying to decide, well, how is this different from the first one?
So it looks like in good faith. So it's not I guess it can be a legal document, but there isn't the legal. What I'm picturing is there's not a notary. There's not a signing of this is the expectation. This is what I can do for you, and this is what you'll do for me. So that's when this covenant of good faith and fair dealing. So we're really just saying, you need to treat each other fairly, and especially, in termination. So it's kind of, you give the benefit of the doubt that it's going to be handled correctly.
Okay.
I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, and it just says an employer unfairly tries to avoid doing what they agreed to do. So yeah, I guess it's a matter of good faith and fairness.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it goes right along with the breach of implied contract, but just a little more details, I guess. So then the violation of public policy, this one has a lot more to it. There's a lot of things that could be determined public policy, and if they commit unlawful acts, you can't be fired for having to serve on a jury.
Yeah.
You can't be fired for blowing the whistle.
I had an experience with the workers' comp thing. I was working a couple winters ago just as a little part-time Christmas job, and I walked into work one morning and fell and got hurt.
Oh.
And ended up being, I couldn't walk for months. So it was kind of a big deal. And I went into, so workers' comp took care of all of that, but they couldn't legally fire me because I couldn't come back to work. So they kept kind of, let us know what you think. When do you think you can come back? Do you want to come back? And because this was a seasonal job, I wasn't guaranteed a position after the Christmas holiday. And yet there was never, so it was very much up to me to decide if I wanted to come back to work. But the pressure was really strong. So they were pressuring me to make the decision for them, whether I come back or not. And it really put me in an awkward situation because they wanted a decision before I was even feeling well enough to evaluate how I was doing.
Oh, wow.
And I often look back at that and I think had I understood it more clearly then, I would have probably had more leg to stand on against what they were doing, or kind of come out, because they were very much pressuring me to either say I'm going to come back or I'm not going to come back, and when I'm going to come back. And they wanted me back, but they didn't want to deal with me not being there. So I wonder, was that something that a violation? I'm not sure, but
probably they were probably just trying to work their way around it. And
yeah,
I'm sure they probably hired someone else to cover. Since you obviously weren't going to be there for at least a few days or a week, did they just hire someone else? And
and it would be interesting to kind of see, to actually have an open conversation about what happened and how it happened and why. I was not in any position to make all those decisions because of where I was at. And so it was a little pressure driven. And I wondered if that was a violation of policy. I don't know.
Yeah, just the pressure, probably. Yeah. It probably was.
So, but she was wording things very, very carefully when she
which was good for you, but you think about being the manager, that's got to be pretty hard.
Exactly.
Like, wait a minute, I can't say anything discriminatory. I have to be really careful. And right. So because she did probably, had you worked there before? Or it was like first time?
First time.
So she didn't really know you. And
I'd worked alongside with her for 4 months, so I knew her, and she was great. I have no complaints about her at all. But I'm sure that situation was very hard for her to kind of walk that line of, pushing me to make a decision, but yet being willing to be okay with whatever happens. So
right,
it was interesting. So,
let's see, what else? So there's discrimination statutes that we've kind of talked about already, just based on gender and race. Got the Americans with Disabilities Act, which I think that's got to be really hard to deal with.
Yeah. And age discrimination is a big thing right now.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of people that have. I thought of that girl in the discussion last night and how her brother was, all of these things, and he was 1 year away from retirement. That there's got to be some something.
Yeah. That just didn't seem right. Like,
No.
how many years did he spend with that company? 30 something years. And that
Yeah.
I'm surprised if he didn't. I mean, I know he got his severance pay and whatnot, but he probably could have sued them for more.
Yeah. And I think that's always a toss up, because you go to sue someone, you've got to pay that lawyer fee, and you've got to, I don't know. That's a really hard one to pursue any of these. I mean, if you're feeling discriminated, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
We had an issue at my kid's middle school like 2 years ago. We had a great principal, and she'd been there for 10 years, and she just did a great job. But apparently there were a few teachers at the school who were just really difficult, and some of them were harassing her and kind of threatening her, but she handled everything really well. But then one day she was called into the superintendent's office, and he let her go just like that, which my husband's in education, and I know that it doesn't really happen like that. So all of the parents and the students and a lot of the teachers at the school just put up a fight. Like, we went to meetings, we went to town hall meetings, and like, why could they just do this to her? And during those meetings, since she had been let go, she was able to explain to us some things that had happened on the district level, and the superintendent did not like her because she was a whistleblower. Like, she was trying to get some teachers out who were awful.
Right.
But, because they were contracted and they have tenure,
there
wasn't anything they could do. And so this superintendent was just kind of done dealing with her and gave all these reasons. And I mean, I don't know the whole story, but they offered her like a desk job in the district, and she's like, that is not what I want. And so she hired an attorney who was supposed to be really good. And since that happened like 2 years ago, and I think she's just back in the classroom now at another middle school in our district, which I'm sure those kids are lucky to have her, but that's not what she wanted. So I'm not sure what the outcome was, if she settled with them, because she was out of a job for a while.
So that's an interesting thing, because we talk about, at will, and yet those teachers couldn't be fired for not performing.
Because they're protected by the union. So I'm sure the union fit in here somehow.
Yeah. So it's just not good. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it was tough. And then the kids were, they were devastated, and most of the teachers at the school were too, because they really liked her and didn't think it was fair what happened to her.
Yeah.
But still happened, and that superintendent's still in. I mean, I'm sure when it comes time, actually, I don't even know how that works. Do we elect him? No, he's not elected. He's
appointed. Yeah. I think they're well, at least here, I think they're just appointed. So
yeah. So
by the state.
We tried hard to fight for her, and I think she felt, validated in knowing that the parents and the kids and the teachers supported her, but it was a tough time.
That's hard.
Well, I guess we can talk about Terry and Phil, who, of course, I read about yesterday. So we'll see how much I remember about them. Oh, and I took the one quiz yesterday, and usually I save the second one for Thursday morning when I finish up my reading.
Yeah.
Have you tried? Did you already take the second quiz?
I did. It was terrible.
Oh, I couldn't take it. It was due Wednesday night.
You know what? That's true. I did it last night, because that's true. And I
didn't look at the due date.
That's true. It was a horrible quiz. Don't worry about it. It was better not to take it.
I sent him an email and asked him to open it up for me because
Hello?
I just couldn't take. I'm like, what? I've never had. Why won't it open? And then I looked, and it was due last night.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing, and I got it done last night because I thought this is strange.
I didn't look at the due dates. I just, I'm kind of on a little schedule. Like,
Right.
I take one of them on Wednesday, and I do the other one finish up Thursday morning, and hasn't been a problem. So yeah, I haven't taken the quiz yet on this part, but you're telling me it's horrible. So
Don't worry about it.
oh, okay,
Not a big deal.
not good enough anyway. So might as well.
Those things, I am not happy with them, and I read them, and I go. I've really struggled with those quizzes. Some weeks it's been okay, but some I'm just not. I'm not picking up the trivial things that they're asking me to quiz on, and it's frustrating to me.
Yeah, and if I go back and look in the reading for 10 minutes and can't find the answer, I just guess. So yeah, it's like I either get 100% or usually a C-. I usually miss 3.
Yep, that's exactly right. I think I missed 2, and there was only 6 questions yesterday. And I'm
only 6. Oh gosh.
Anyway,
okay.
All right.
Well, so let's see. Financial obligation. So we're supposed to talk a little bit about Terry and Phil and how do each one of them impact the bottom line. All right. Let me find my. Where's. Oh. I don't know why I haven't learned this semester. I should go read the leader discussion first before I go read. Then I know what to highlight when I'm reading.
That's true. That's true. I haven't done that either.
I just thought about that right now. This would have been much more helpful.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking with the bottom line, I really felt like both of them, well, in Phil's case, it's taxing on the benefit side because of his illness.
Oh, yes, true.
But on Terry's side, I thought it was probably just that he's not performing. And so it's his salary is just definitely not worth what they're paying him because he's not contributing fully.
It's not going towards anything that's helping out the company.
Yeah, and so that's probably a bigger concern than the benefits, but I don't know. Phil's benefits have to be huge at this point because of all of his stuff.
Right, but does the company, do they have to make up for that? Is that something that will come back to bite them later? Like,
yeah, I don't know how that works exactly.
I don't think the insurance company in the middle of his treatment says, oh, by the way, we're raising premiums, but next year I guess they could. Look at the overall usage of the insurance benefits. Yeah. Maybe if everyone else in the company stayed relatively healthy, maybe it didn't impact them too much. But yeah, I don't really quite understand how that works. Although I am taking that other class on health insurance, and we've learned a little bit about that. But I really don't know the answer to that. Like,
I don't either.
I think they do reevaluate every year, but
yeah, I don't know if it's based on who's used it or just based on cost.
Right.
Based on healthcare costs as it goes up. I don't know.
Okay. So what obligations does the manager have to the company based on the information?
And that's just
so here it says Terry makes no contribution. So his salary and benefits are pure cost. And Phil seems to be less of a financial liability. So what does the manager, what are her obligations knowing that information? What does she have to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the company is only making $300,000 a year and you're paying someone to not be productive, I mean, that you got to cut that one.
So when you were reading, what did you think? What did you think she was going to do? Were you surprised when you read Part B?
I think the illness for Phil threw me. I mean, no one saw that one coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would have been if they were both equal in health, but not in productivity. I wondered if she would just get rid of both of them. That's what I wondered. I think she was not going to keep people around if they weren't contributing. So I can see that both of them probably could be gone. But
And when I was doing the reading, I highlighted some of the things she said, like, I hate when this happens.
mm-hmm.
I can't stand it when da 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 da. And I thought, oh, I don't know. Is she a great manager? I don't know.
The thing I liked about her is that, like what we talked before, you knew where you stood with her.
Yeah.
And not that, I mean, I have a hard time taking feedback when it's critical. That's hard for me. But at the same time, I would much rather know, one, what the expectations were, and if I was meeting them, than to be blindsided and, you know, get a poor review and not understand why. And that would bother me probably more than having my feelings hurt because she's being so blunt. So
right.
I think that's interesting. And it looks like because she's a newer manager, she hasn't had those opportunities to, you know, pull the whole team along. And now she's doing that. So now she's like, okay, these are the weak links. Let's figure out what to do.
Did you feel like I know I think we felt the same way about reading about both of them, like, okay, you got to get rid of them. But at the same time, were you trying to think of what the legal obligations were that she would have to consider before letting either one of them go? Like, I have a hard time with that. I don't know, like.
Yeah, because it's her opinion. I mean, everyone else has been really kind in their evaluations, but it's really up to her how she's working with them and if that can improve. And, you know, you probably have to be really careful how you treated that, because if there's an improvement that you could be doing to improve that productivity of the person or that relationship, that probably needs to happen before you get, you know, the hate, I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this. I mean, you've got to balance that out, and that, because otherwise you would be caught firing for just no specific reason. Just, I don't like him. And that wouldn't be right.
Right. And with Terry, everybody liked him. He's our scuba instructor.
Yeah. Well, it seemed that they hired him in the first place, quite frankly. That didn't.
Yeah.
That was the error. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought because in the first reading it said she was going to give him a 2.5, right? We did learn that, yeah. And so I thought, well, you know what? Good for her for not just going along with what everybody says, because they hired her for a reason to handle issues like this, and maybe they're all going to question her. But with that 2.5, from what we learned reading about in Part B, that it made him look at himself, like,
right.
He evaluated himself a little bit better. And when she could compare him to the other people, say, look, do you really think that you're pulling your weight as much as these people are? And so it sounds like it kind of helped him to see, you're right, I've probably been getting these 3.0s and not deserving them all this time. I mean, poor guy, but he's not trying.
Yeah. It's such a disservice to him, though. I mean, I don't know. That's bothersome to me. It seemed like he wasn't open for feedback because he didn't feel like he needed any, but yet he wasn't satisfied with what he was doing. So that there's such a, I would have a hard time with that. That would be really hard to continue to work through when people like me, but I still don't feel needed. I mean, I don't care if you like me. I need to feel like I'm contributing. So.
And I don't think he felt that way.
No, I don't think so. But yet that was happy to have a job. Yeah, it wasn't brought up until she approached him on it. I mean, it was like, let's give him good rates because we like him, but not tell him what he could improve on so that he deserves them. I don't know. It
was too much work for them.
Yeah, exactly. And they were scared of maybe rocking the boat. Well, she has no problem rocking the boat.
Yeah.
So.
What else should we talk about?
Let's go to step 3 maybe and just go over HR practices.
How well is the company, in the case, doing with its HR practices generally? Well, with her on board, I think we're doing better.
Well, and she seems to be wanting to create that team. Well, HR previously was just hiring people because they liked him, or oh, that would, you know. So I think they've kind of evolved, and she's been able to create something that really functions for the company. I think we talked about that they don't get a clear picture of how they're performing. Giving them a, you're okay.
I get water.
Sorry, I should have had water ready to go.
No, you're just fine.
Okay. That's what happens. I sit at home all day and I don't talk to anybody, so my voice is reserved.
You're just fine.
But now I'm talking and
yeah, you're good.
That will be like a good reason to cut our meeting short today.
That's right.
Stop coughing.
There's only 2 of us.
All right, where were we?
I think we've gone over most of that. So I think the only thing that I keep thinking is that those PPIs, they kept saying that really just gives justification to let people go. And so clearly they're not working. And HR probably needs to work on those better. And we've read, or some class we've read about really doing those evaluations, you know, stand up quick evaluations quarterly, and really focusing on what the employee wants to improve on and helping. And I think they could probably fix those. So
yeah, they're not doing them any good. And I think, I mean, I guess it would be nice to read about an example, not that I want more reading, but an example of a company that has learned how to use those interventions and make them work to their advantage. Not, oh, well, this is our last resort and this is what we're doing, and you know you're probably going to get fired after this.
Right.
So.
Right. No matter what we say or what we do, you're still probably going to go. So, yeah. I thought she handled it well, though, when she said, do you want to go? And he says, well, not really. Well, then what can we do? Can you change quickly? You need to change, I mean, like overnight change. And I think that really made him go, oh, you're right. But yet if they'd done all of these hiring better and then training better and then, these progressive, whatever those PPIs are appropriately, it would have, maybe he could have kept his job. So.
Okay, I already forgot. And I just read this morning. Did he choose to leave?
He did. Well, she gave him 3 months to find another job within the company, but because he kind of had a bad rap.
Okay. Nobody wanted him.
And so he did end up leaving.
Okay.
I thought that was generous of her to say you can go out with a big bang of a party and yay, or you can, and I thought I thought she handled it really well. I hadn't thought of helping. I mean, that wasn't part of what I would have thought of doing to help the employee leave on a good note. And that was, I thought, very kind of her. So.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, obviously I've never been the person that has to hire or fire anybody, so I don't really know how I'd handle it. But the way that she did handle it, I thought, well, she talked to him like a real person, like a friend, trying to help you here, and trying to make him evaluate himself. Like, I think that's a big part of it, because I don't think a person, I'm sure there's some people out there who are doing a terrible job and really think they're doing a great job. But I think when you really make them look deeply at what they're doing, they're going to realize, you know what, you're right. I'm kind of lame.
Well, and not only that is that this isn't the right place for you. You're in a job that you're not either qualified for, or you're
not happy.
Your strengths aren't being used. I mean, all of those things. I thought that was really smart of her to point out, hey, we're not utilizing your strengths, and we won't be utilizing your strengths, and find somewhere where you can. I thought that was smart. That made sense. I'm reading, I don't know if you've read this book.
I've had to read a part of it for one of my other classes. I don't have to read the whole book, but yeah, my husband had it on the shelf, so I have looked at it. I haven't read it, but.
Well, we're reading that for a different class, and the part I'm at right now is really where the president of the company is saying, hey, unless you can change completely and fit into this mold and be willing to, this isn't your fit. There's other places that are going to accept you much better than what we're doing here, and you're not happy enough to even stay here. So let's think, somewhere else. And I think that that's smart, because not everybody's in the job that's best for them. So anyway, it's interesting.
It makes me worry a little bit thinking about, I'm really hoping to go out and start working soon here now that I'm about done with school. Yeah. But I do worry about how am I going to get along with other people? How do I know if it's going to be something I like? I mean, I've been taking all these classes, but as you know, we just kind of plug along to get through the classes. And
right.
I think I thought at the beginning of the semester, human resources, that actually kind of interests me. But now as we're getting to the end, I'm like, no, it doesn't. Not anymore. I don't want to have that much responsibility.
Yeah. Well, and I fear, I look at myself and I think I've been at home for 25 years. I've done a million things with church callings and community things, but I don't feel like I've ever had an HR, or a boss come up and say, all right, you're not equipped for this, or that feedback. I just think that would be really hard on both sides. That's a hard thing to do. So, and to receive. And I definitely don't know that I would take it as well as I think I should.
Yeah, I might be a little sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so too. So
I have to grow a little bit more, a thicker skin before I go out into the work.
Yeah. But yeah, we've raised kids and we have to have thick skin with our kids. But is that the same? Probably not.
No, I think it's different. I mean, it's a good start, and it's good, to have those experiences. But no, I think it's different, because my kids can get mad at me and I don't care.
That's exactly. And I still love them.
Exactly. I'll be like, sorry, it is what it is. Now, to a boss or an HR person, it's not going to be the same.
I've really learned, though, that in HR, when it functions properly, can make or break a company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm seeing. And if they don't have, those resources or those procedures and protocols in place, and where they're very much divided between, watching out for the employee and watching out for the employer, if they're one-sided either way, they can do such a disservice. So I think it's a huge, much bigger responsibility after watching all of this than I had thought in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
I was thinking about our next paper, and with this topic for this week, I looked over the Doohickeys paper and I read the part where he says, oh, we're an at-will company, but I was having the other topics, I feel like I was able to kind of pull out a problem and think of the solutions. But for this topic, to me, it seems a little bit backwards. I don't know. How do I explain it? How do we come up with 4 solutions for a problem like getting rid of people?
Yeah. Well, my only thought is, just as we're talking about it, because I haven't even thought about the doohickeys yet, but my only thought here is that they've hired, and we've talked about this all before in our other papers too, but they've hired those managers and the company bigwigs as friends and family, and they're not, I'm positive they're not living up to what the company's potential is, because they weren't hiring them based on skills, but we don't know that, but that's what I'm assuming. So I wonder if that's an approach that can be taken.
Like how to legally get rid of some of these people?
Get rid of some of these people or shift their positions somehow.
Well, that's true. We could use this girl. What's her name again? I forgot her name.
I don't know that we ever knew her name, quite frankly.
I think you might have said it at the very beginning of part A, but yeah, maybe take some of the way she did things and use that. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Usually we're trying to solve a problem. We're going to do this and this and this, all these positive things to help the company. Yeah. And this one is kind of like, I feel like it's a little bit opposite, backwards, or I don't know.
Well, and we talked, I think, I don't know if it was your paper or who wrote it, but we talked about, oh, now I can't remember what I was going to say. Something about, oh, I don't remember now. It's gone. But shuffling people or reevaluating their positions. So I wonder if that comes into play here, because as you reevaluate, maybe some of that information we could reuse in this part, and then based on finding those, these are, going through that, this is what you could do to either get rid of them or find a different place for them in the company, or I don't know. Anyway.
No, it's good to think about, because I'm like, okay, if this is going to be my part, I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
Well, and you think too, this company, if they don't produce, there's going to have to be layoffs. I mean, or whatever they're going to, I mean, they're going to have to get rid of people if they don't start producing, because they're not keeping up. So anyway, I don't know either. I haven't thought that far. So maybe that's what we need to do.
Well, do we want to make a decision? Well, we still have to meet next week, right?
We do. So do we want to wait until next week and just email Michael and say, this is our thought, as far as someone writes the intro and the conclusion and puts the paper together, and someone else does, this terminating, and the other, I don't even know what next week is.
I wrote it down. It is social, workplace, and society.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, it was talking about dealing with different, you've got like people who might be going through divorces, or difficulties at home, or different lifestyles, and just, I guess, dealing with all the different types of lifestyles and problems that can come to your company, because everybody has, everyone's different at home. They have different issues going on. So I just glanced at it for like a minute today, just so I could write down what it was. So well, I don't know.
Is that fair? Is that giving everybody about the same workload?
I think the person that does the intro and the conclusion and pulls it all together will definitely have the easier job. But at the same time, I think it was going to be hard to say who has to pull the paper together when all three of us were, if we were all writing an equal amount. So I guess it's just if someone has a preference, or I'm okay doing either. I can take one of these topics. I can take today's topic, but if Michael would, if he's more like, no, I'd rather write than have to put it all together, I'm okay either way. So. And
I'm fine either way. My only other thought is that maybe if the person that's writing the conclusion and intro and conclusion maybe wanted to take and write one solution to each of the problems. The only downside there is that they would have to do that at the end after the first person, or they'd have to claim what their solution was.
Right. Because I know for me, I sometimes I try to have my 4 solutions, before I start, but sometimes I don't, and I get going, and then it's like, oh, okay, here's another one. You know, you don't want to. I think that
might be tricky.
So I think if we're going to do it that way, I think your first suggestion would probably be the best, that they would have to wait and get the other 3 solutions and then come up with a 4th one. Because if you come up with yours first, the person writing it might go, oh, but I really wanted to use that one, and it might mess up their train of thought.
Right. Well, and you wonder if the flow would be different. Maybe not. I don't know. So maybe we can put those 2 ideas out, just because I don't know. I have a hard time finding 4 solutions. That is really hard, but it might be helpful to have someone else have a fresh look on it and go, oh, well, I was thinking this. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could put out both to him and see what he thinks, and then talk about it first of next week, so we kind of know where we're going with it.
Yeah, because let's see. So next week, if we meet on Thursday, that means we only have a week and 2 days before the paper is due.
And I'd love to have it like almost done by the end of next week.
Right. So we maybe we should just deal with it through email and not wait till next Thursday.
Right. I think so too.
If we feel like we have the time,
we can get it done soon.
For me and my finals, I'm not sure, like, wait, are some of them I'm putting off till the very end of the 14th week, or am I going to be doing some next week? I'm not.
Well, I'd kind of like to have the paper done and then take the final test the next week.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I don't know if that's really how it will all happen, but ideally in my mind, that would be really nice.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, well, I'll type up an email and send it to you and Michael about what we talked about, our ideas for writing the 4th paper. And
maybe we can make that decision by Monday and get his input by Monday, so that we can each start writing and getting things put together as we look at next week. And then just see what happens.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, and I'm up for doing whatever. I would do whatever. So I'm not. I just want it done.
I was so disappointed to find out that we had a final in this class. I was thinking that the paper was our final.
No.
And then I read that. I'm like, what? I mean, it sounds like it won't be too hard because we can open it and close it, and maybe just one day write one and close it, and then come back the next day and write another one, and that would be ideal to do it that way. But it looks like we can't even open it yet. I didn't try again today. I did try.
I did. It wasn't on. So.
Yeah, so.
But it does say we still have to have the doohickeys paper of 2,300 words, which that's a lot. I thought it was 2,300 with all 3 of it. All 3.
No, it was like 3,500 to 5,000.
Okay, and I was thinking I tried to get mine between 7 and 900 or something like that, and so if we only do 2 of those, that would only be 1,500.
Well, I think I was looking at it as with 3 of us that we each did like at least 1,000. I know my last one was way over 1,000. So
I don't even remember.
If we each had 1,000, and then and then with the intro and conclusion, then it would be 3,500. But I don't think we ever came close to not meeting the word count before.
I think you're right. Yeah,
I think we'll probably be okay.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay.
Well, write him, and we'll see what happens, and I'll hopefully hear back from him. I'm sure he's just gotten swamped.
Okay. Well, yeah, so maybe at least by Monday or Tuesday at the latest, we have a decision on what we're each going to be doing. So if we choose to start working on it ahead of time.
Well, and then maybe we can come with at least an outline, a rough outline on that Thursday meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be helpful.
Okay.
It can be rough, but okay.
Yeah.
Give him some options and see what he's up for. And then we can just go whatever works. But.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. I hope your cough goes away and you get everything done.
Yeah, you too. Decorate. I don't know when that's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't know either.
When my daughter comes home from remission next year.
Next year, that's exactly, please.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Heather. We'll see you later.
Bye.